What's going on, everybody? October 1st, about 8:30, 8:45 in the morning here on Sunday. I'm just going to go through and probably pull some of these Brandywine off. They're getting pretty close. Take a look at some of the late season watermelon that we have going. I was able to find about, I think, 4 or 5, maybe more. So we'll weed through the vines a little bit, see if we can find those. And then take a look at the other bed over here, which I need to read about saving seeds from broccoli, because these seed pods are really starting to blow up. And I want to make sure I let these go as long as they need to before I chop them down and mulch everything back in. The Aldi sweet pepper still looking pretty good, but I think it's probably starting to slow down a little bit. I haven't really seen too much new fruit forming on there. Got about 4 or 5 peppers, but that was a pretty late season crop that I started about 2 months after everything else. So go ahead and open the gate here. Dogs are out enjoying the beautiful weather. This area all in here, first before I go to the garden, that's the little tree bench that we're trying to train, but I'm really hoping that the current area over there at least double in size. Put in 2 or 3 more beds. I would really like to triple my tomato production this next year and incorporate a couple different cherry tomato varieties, maybe some different colors, just because I've had such a successful year, and I've probably had 50 to 75 pounds of harvest so far, and that's not including, I would say, what's on the plants now, which there's still probably 60 plus San Marzano, 15 Brandywine, over 50 Roma, I would say, and just countless cherry tomato, and they just continue to flower. So ideally, really like to get into the market of selling some of this stuff to maybe some local restaurants or some markets and really just focus on leafy greens and tomatoes. We've seen the tomatoes have just absolutely dominated with this no-till technique, and I'm just going to keep with it. There's no reason to change unless we notice some things that are gone awry, but so far so good. Very pleased with the production this year, and I think probably one of the main things I need to accomplish before we can go in triple production is figure out a way to use the rainwater and set up an automated watering system where I can just incorporate the aloe and the coconut feeds. That would be ideal. If I have to do those by hand, kind of spot feed here and there, and then do a larger watering through a system of some sort, like a drip system, that's fine. But a lot of the time each week I find goes into watering. Just, it's maybe 15 minutes a day for the 2 beds when I am watering. So if I'm going to expand that out, and then also probably do hops, I'd really like to do those along the left side over here. But those can grow 10 plus feet, just like the tomatoes. I think they're expected to grow up to 20 in some cases, and I'm going to need to figure out some sort of major support system for that. My brother brews beer. That's Bowler SP, and I want to get him some homegrown hops. Fortunately, it takes about a year or 2 for those hops to be usable. So I don't know, I may look at rhizomes. I've been looking at rhizomes actually, and I think that's probably what I will do. But I've also seen some varieties you can order as essentially dormant field crops that have already been around for a year. They're more mature than a rhizome, and it's kind of like you can just plant those and go, but they're a bit more expensive. However, with the time savings, it might be worth it, so I'm still trying to weigh my options there. And most importantly, figure out how I'm going to be able to tame them once they do start growing. Because if they grow anything like the tomatoes do, it's going to be very successful. So, I will probably start expanding this area within the next couple weeks. Figure out how I want to situate the beds so I can get the most efficient airflow and sun. It's interesting though, because if you look at the way I have these grown, it was kind of a strange year. I didn't really know how to train them very well. So you can see like the cherry tomato is coming all down the left side of the bed. I don't really want that. I would probably chop off that entire left piece there. So you can see, right, you kind of see down there where the stem splits. I would probably just have the one stem, but 12 plants in a bed. And just, it would be all about pruning at that point. I think, you know, you don't want to end up with blight, you don't want to end up with bugs, and you really got to keep the airflow exceptional when you have them growing that dense. But I've seen some people do it. Maybe 12 might be a little overkill, maybe 8 in a bed, and then possibly some smaller stuff in between. But it so much depends on the sun. I swear I always hit max recording time right in the middle of a video. It's awesome. Anyway, you can see the sun rises yonder, cast its light across here. So I think probably in the bed behind it, I would put either more tomatoes, another row of tomatoes along that back trellis, or potentially, I don't know. I don't know at this point. I've been trying to stew over this for a few days. Maybe I'll get someone out with a bit more experience and they can give me some advice about how to lay out the future beds and what to do with the tomatoes. But like, if you stand right here, all of those tomatoes are along that back wall. And if I sliced off this left half of the Brandywine, you can see it branched out. If I don't let it do that, there's probably another plant I could fit there. More like 8 per bed, maybe. We'll see what happens. But first, look at those Brandywine. Just gorgeous. Definitely the most consistently round, the least cracking, these late season ones. I think there are 16 on there still right now. So, let's head into the bed. And jalapeno starting to yellow out a little bit, but still producing. Some up top there. Some new ones coming in. And then some of these other ones I'll probably pick off today, make some salsa. Just harvested a bunch of aromas over the past few days. I think those are just about ready. So we've been without salsa for 3 days, I think. And we need some more. The watermelon here, I just came through. I'd kind of given up on it, to be honest, because it just wasn't doing anything, and it's so late in the season I didn't expect it to do anything more. But as I'm coming through here and looking, there is this dude right here. Looking pretty good. Maybe doubling in size every day, every other day. And then I just keep finding all of these other ones. There's another. So this is normally the size they get to, and then they just crap out. And this dude over here, that's 3. 4. Saw another larger one back here somewhere. Where was that? Is that 5? 6. So at least 6. I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna let him go. See what happens. That dude is ready to pick. Looks like that one is too. Monster up here. Oh, that one is actually, looks like it burst a little bit. Need to pull that off. See if I can salvage it. That's the problem we run into with these. Maybe I'm just letting them go too long on the vines. But I've seen that where they crack and then it's almost like they burst as they fill up with water. As they finish up ripening. The Roma right here. Had to get another stake for this back arm of the Roma just because it was going crazy. I don't know, it grew way faster than the other ones. And there are still quite a few fruit on there. There, and this one, not so much, but just continues to perform and produce. Very pleased. And then the San Marzano, tons of fruit. All the way up to the top. So we're now at top of the wood. It's 10 feet. The San Marzano and the Brandywine are well above that, at least 6 inches. I remember reading that vining plants could get up to 12 feet, and I didn't believe it. So here's the evidence. First year garden, 10.5-foot tomato plants. It's either beginner's luck or this method really just killing it. Absolutely dominating. This bed is mainly clover at this point. There's still some lima beans. But ultimately I want to convert this one to a hoop house first. Probably some green beans in here. Couple, yeah. Just a few. And no 4-leaf clovers though. Every once in a while I'll come out here and poke around, but I haven't seen any. Like I was saying, I'm gonna get some longer PVC and essentially use this existing rebar and then bend it across and attach it down over to the other side, and then put some sort of clear tarp over it, like a greenhouse style of tarp, and then that will maybe give us another month or so into the winter. And I want to grow some green manure so I can replenish the beds over winter. That would be ideal. So I plan on continuing the feed schedule to some degree, probably not as much watering. I'll just have to monitor the soil and see what the moisture level looks like, but as far as the feeds with aloe and coconut water, Hannah, come here. Those will continue. Normally what I do is this 2-gallon feeder, do about one and a half of those per bed, and then I'll come through and water with just regular water. So probably the regular watering will slow down quite a bit once the temps drop. But this week I'm going to meet with one of my buddies. His mom owns a nursery, and she specializes in rainwater systems. So I'm really excited about that. Meet up with her, get some tips, hopefully we'll get some of the equipment that I'll need and get that going as soon as possible, because there's just so much wasted water that runs off the house and I don't have to pay to harness that, or rather to harness what's coming out of my own spigots. So that's about it for now. Just gonna go ahead and spread down some malted barley powder, a little container down there, and then water it in. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good week.